And my email subscribers went from 0 to 700,000 for a grand total of 2 billion impressions over that time period and 7.8 million new subscribers.
Alex Hormozi is one of the most well-known content creators in the business space. And in just 40 months, he gained 7.8 million followers across all of his social media channels. So today, we're gonna see what he has to say about content creation and how we can apply it to grow our social media following.
Phase one is you make something and you post it. That's it. You just gotta post something sometime, somewhere. And believe it or not, a lot of you guys haven't even done phase one, which is why I have to outline it.
The biggest hurdle for the majority of people is just getting started. They get so worried about it being perfect that they wait 6 months longer than they really need to, and they realize they just wish they started sooner.
Number two is that you post something consistently. You create a cadence or a calendar around when you post. You find a platform that you like, ideally one that you're probably already using, and you just post again after you posted once. And you say, you know what? This was 7 days apart. If I do this every 7 days, I will now be consistent.
Obviously, just posting is not going to get you anywhere if you're only posting one video every couple of months, or even if you're posting 7 videos for 7 days straight and then you take 2 weeks off. I'd rather see somebody be consistent every single day or even every other day to get started than have them posting for 7 days straight, then take 2 weeks off. Alex makes a great point here of starting with a platform that you're already familiar with and have already posted on. So if you've already made Instagram Reels or tweets, I would start there because you're familiar with it and you know what gets likes, views, and comments on there.
I just know that there's one day a week that I do all my marketing stuff. What I do on that day changes, but it's always marketing related. But that's what's worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you.
And this is really important because you're still new to this industry and this whole content creation thing. So being consistent is going to set the foundation for years to come, and it'll set the foundation for you to start posting more. So if you're posting every other day, like I mentioned before, this will get the foundation started so you can eventually be comfortable posting every single day.
Third phase, you post reliably, and you do it on all platforms. That's a massive increase in the amount of volume that you are posting. This is when it transitions in terms of objectives, and I'll get to the objectives in a second. Phase four is that you go from posting just even once on every platform on a regular cadence to maximizing how much every platform can take. The short form platforms can take sometimes 5, 10 posts a day, like Twitter or TikTok, Facebook Reels at this moment. Rules change all the time. If you have a newsfeed style where you have an audience that is pushing stuff to, they tend to fatigue faster and they don't want to get overwhelmed with one person. That's usually where you get capped out at 1 or 2 times a day. And so what you have to do is look at all the platforms, figure out what the max amount is that you can publish on a platform, and then all you do is you crank the volume on all of them at the same time.
So how these social media algorithms work is once you start posting consistently and you start garnering some views and attention, they will start to push your videos out more and more. So when you have a viral video or viral tweet, double down on it and make a video that's very similar to it and just continue to post that style of video. And this is where you're going to start to see significant growth from this consistent posting. Because when you post a video and you get 1 million views, for example, people are watching that video, clicking to your profile, and then so the next time you post, people will still be watching that viral video from before. So now they're more likely to watch the next video that you posted, and therefore it's going to get even more views. And if you do that consistently and are consistently getting viral views, it's just going to snowball effect, and that's when you're going to start to get tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers.
That's phase four. Most people never even get to phase four.
A little nugget that Alex said here is most people don't get there. Less than 10% of creators are actually going to get to post 30 or post 60 because they don't see that viral views right at the beginning, and so they quit. And that consistency that we talked about at the beginning didn't pay off for them.
Phase five, you go from creating for all of those to capturing and creating. For example, if I wanted to have a show where everybody called in and then I could repurpose all that stuff across content, that would be me deliberately creating content in a way across all those channels. But not only creating, but also capturing so that I could further enhance my reach and the amount of volume that I created.
Once we've got a lot of content, we're going to actually want to start to repurpose that content. So we can take one piece of content and turn it to 3 different videos or tweets or reels, however we want to chop that up. Once you start building authority, you're going to want to actually start connecting and networking with higher leverage people. You might want to invite them on a podcast or do a YouTube video with them. This is where you really can unlock that cheat code of repurposing content, because you can take an hour-long podcast and get 50, 60, 70 clips from that one single podcast. This will save you time in your content creation process because you go from only having that one video to now you can make 30 videos out of an hour-long podcast. So you have an entire month's worth of content ready to be posted, all from one interview. And if a single clip from that interview does well, it's more likely that people will go looking for that podcast and looking for other clips from that interview. So therefore, the other ones are all going to benefit from that as well. I personally like to use an AI tool like Cast Magic to do this for me because it can take 1 hour-long podcast and change it for any type of social media platform I want. So whether that's tweets, reels, reels, LinkedIn posts, blog posts. It can take the tone and everything that was talked about that and then start repurposing a ton of content for me. So not only one platform is covered, but I'm covered for any platform I can need.
What packaging looks like on each of the platforms. If you've ever seen that meme that had like Tinder, LinkedIn, Facebook, and like Instagram, platforms are all a little bit different. Same person, just packaged a little differently. This tweet here, then getting put into a TikTok, then also getting put into a YouTube short, and then also getting put into a reel. It's the same concept, the same subject matter, but we package it a little bit differently.
So what Alex is talking about here is how different type of people are living on these different platforms. So a person that's using Facebook all the time is a lot different than somebody that's getting a lot of their news and feed from the Instagram Reels. So therefore, you need to slightly tweak the packaging for each of these platforms. Facebook, you might have more meme content. Reels, it's going to be a little bit more polished. And then over on TikTok, it's going to be a bit more raw and unfiltered. So that's exactly why you can't just be blindly repurposing all this content the same exact way for every single platform.
For everyone who sees the overnight success, right? What I want you to do is go to my podcast and look at the timestamp of my first episode. It's 2017. 5.5, 6 years ago, it just now hit the top 10. And in that 6-year period, I did not miss. Every week, 1 to 3 podcasts for 6 years. And so people are making podcasts and thinking in 90 days they're somehow going to blow up. When the reality is that you're finding your voice for the first year. You're figuring out what way you communicate. You're learning how to teach, how to entertain, how to present. You're learning how to speak. And you're also learning about the stuff that you're learning meantime, right? Like in that period of time, I might not have had as much stuff that was as cool in the beginning that applied to as many people.
Hormozi, who's one of the biggest people in business right now, one of the most viral creators ever, didn't have his podcast blow up until 7 years down the road. And even when his podcast wasn't going viral for those 7 years, he was still showing up consistently because he knew that if he showed up consistently, it would pay off in the long run for him. He mentions exactly here that most people think it's going to be 90 days of you posting and you're going to see the success. That's not the truth at all. He even says that for the first year, most people are still finding their voice. And he hits on a great point here when he says that you learn stuff along the way that makes you more valuable for people to watch. So you might not have a ton of value to bring people until 2 years of doing your podcast or posting content consistently, and that's when you finally start to blow up. And it's only after you meet that certain threshold that's different for every single person that you will really start to blow up. Keep posting your content consistently and don't think about the results so much of one video that you're posting today. Think about the archive of videos that you will have 5 years from now if you've consistently been showing up every single day, and how it would be nearly impossible for you not to have gotten a couple viral videos in there that really blew up your brand for the long term. So just keep showing up and improving, and success will eventually come.
I think the real reason that we were able to grow, so I'm going to put like my real hat on for a minute. And again, this is my 2 cents, is that there's an unspoken question in every person's mind that has to first be answered, which is, why should I listen to you? And I think it's one of the most profound questions. And I think it influences how people share, how people take your content, everything. It's the frame that the content is consumed in.
Today, more than ever, there is so much content on the internet. So before someone ever finds your content, it's extremely likely that just that same day, they've already seen 5 to 10 pieces of similar content. Not to mention over the last year, seeing hundreds, if not thousands of creators in the same niche as you. So to get them to listen, you need to show that you have some sort of status and proof that you're somebody worth listening to. You need to build authority with your viewer. You don't need to be flashing a Lamborghini, but I'm talking about client testimonials, showing success stories, and your own success story of how you got from square one to where you're at right now. Not only is this going to build authority, but it's going to humanize you with these people and separate you from the random person that they saw on their For You page right before you.
If it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't work for you, no sweat. Here's 20 of my clients. This is the stuff that I'm doing with them right now. Rosie was struggling with some skin condition. We started giving her magic pills, and look at her skin now. It's amazing, right? But like, this is what, it might not work for you, but this will work for her, and this will work for him, and this will work for my clients, right? Not what you should do. As soon as you point out, people hate you. Because it sounds like you're preaching. It sounds like you have an ego, and I just don't think people like that. And so I think it's also switching from how to how I. So how to build a massive social media following to how I built the following that I have. Feel a difference? It's really small, but really big in terms of how people interpret your message.
People absolutely hate getting sold to because it feels like every other video, someone's promising them the moon. So that's why in your content, you should be showing how you achieved or did certain things. Talk about your path and your observations along the journey, which is a lot easier way to build authority when you say, hey, I did this, and this was my specific experience, versus telling somebody, hey, this is exactly how you should do something. Because when you do that, you run into a lot of people that have more experience than you, they've been in the game longer than you, they have better better results than you, and maybe they have a slightly different way of doing it. But if you frame it in a way of, hey, this is how I did something and this was my experience, then nobody can refute that because that's exactly what you went through and those are your experiences individually. All of that is going to prevent you from coming off super salesy, and it's going to make you more genuine. Again, humanizing you in the view of the viewer. And that is Alex Hormozi's advice on content. Take his advice and you can grow your following to over 1 million followers in just a few months easily. However, creating content can be extremely time consuming, especially if you're just starting out and don't have a team to help you with content creation. Click here to watch how you can automate your content creation with this AI system. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.